Hello everybody, everyone, friends, family, children, adults, animals. Today we're going to be dissecting or looking at the collection of books that I own, my personal library, my closet full of books. Let's get straight into it. First book, James Patterson, Double Cross. Fairly standard thriller. It's about this guy called Alex Cross, who's a detective, crazy killings, etc. This detective book, this thriller, it's very grounded in reality. That's something I like about James Patterson. Well, lots of the things that he does, they're not exactly practical, but you could see someone actually crazy taking inspiration from it, because there's a lot of attention to detail and it comes together very neatly. Killer Instinct, James Patterson. What is this one about? Oh yeah, it's about this ex-CIA professor who's trying to leave that life behind, but some tragedy, some bombing throws him back into action. Look at the book fall. Next book, also by James Patterson, Private India. It's just like every book is by James Patterson. No, it's just half of this shelf that's James Patterson. I mean, I don't like this book, alright? Pretty much every James Patterson book is just set in New York or like the US, and I like it. I like the change of scenery. I like all the misturns and stuff, because James Patterson thriller books, they all follow like kind of the same formula with, you know, the red herrings and the climax, and they're very engaging stories, and it's a refreshing take on like his formula. I like it, you know, it's pretty good. And plus the fact that our Private India, the person that we're following, I can't recall his name at the moment, he has a very troubling past, and, you know, it makes him a very interesting character. Okay. Alert by James Patterson. Again, this book is actually pretty special to me. I've read this one over a bunch of times. I got it 4 years ago at a Christmas carols event. The local library was just handing out books for free, and this book introduced me to James Patterson. And as you can see, I'm a little bit of a fan. It's so good. You get to know who the bad guys are straight away. Well, you don't get to know them, their identities, but you get to know their modus operandi. Is that how you pronounce it? Modus operandi? Operandi? You get to know their MO. I should have said that right away. It's just a great book. It follows these like mastermind geniuses who are just terrorizing New York, and then there's this guy, Detective Michael Bennett, who's just like a family man, and he's just trying to do the right thing and trying to figure out who these guys are. It's a great story, and it got me hooked onto James Patterson. BlindSide by James Patterson. It's another Michael Bennett thriller, because this book it's not even the first in the series, it's just like in the middle of the series, and so this is, I'm pretty sure, later down the line. I got this as a birthday present from a friend. Absolutely loved it. Great book. Burned through it. Would read it again sometime. You know, I would recommend it. They're not in any particular order. I couldn't figure out the order of these, but all these Michael Connelly books, they are they follow Hieronymus Bosch. They're all part of the same series. A Darkness More Than Night. It's grim, it's dark, it's gritty. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite thrillers. the way it comes together, it's superb. Alright? Like, seriously, it's so good. I mean, the title, just look at it. A Darkness More Than Night. It gets pretty grim. And Hieronymus Bosch, he really has to face darkness in this one. And, yep, I was right. He's not even the main person on the case, because the darkness implied, it's not just, the darkness of crime. It's the darkness of the protagonist of the series, Ooh, look at that subversion of expectations. I've never seen like a detective that has flaws to them. But yeah, I mean, pretty much every detective book of this is the same. James Patterson, Micheal Connelly, it all, comes together with all the red herrings, and the detective has all these connections, and they have an ex-wife who either died or divorced them, blah blah blah, but they're entertaining, alright? I like them. Micheal Connelly, The Reversal. It's based in the domain of law. Do you want to hear a funny story? Not really, okay. I know you don't want to hear a funny story, but this book, I was, I don't know why I picked it up again. Look how it bent the spine is. I really did not treat this book very good. Wait, So, this book, I went to a parent-teacher interview and I was reading this book pretty much, like I got a bunch of compliments, but I was just bored, I'm reading the book, and one of my friends, let's call her Karen. Let's call her Karen, because that's her name. Like, her mother, I think, said to her, why can't you be more like that guy who is reading his stuff? And like, this is the first book I've read in months. So, gotcha. It's a great book, you should read it. That goes without saying. I should do like hand signals in front of the camera. What's this one? City of Bones. Oh, I remember this one. I remember like reading this book in the car. It's so good. It's about like Hieronymus Bosch tackling this 20-year-old murder case and stuff because he finds like some child's bones scattered in the wilderness. Oh, it's so good. It's like, I have to these Micheal Connelly thrillers, like the James Patterson ones, they're more mainstream, like anyone could just pick them up and read them. The Micheal Connelly ones, if you love like thrillers, if you love crime, if you love murders, serial killings, that kind of stuff, I would go for them 100%. So good. Micheal Connelly, Void Moon. Great book. I'm just behind the camera so that you're seeing through my eyes. Ooh. Void Moon, great. It's about a heist, and a void moon is like this event that takes place every so often and it causes bad luck. It really deals with a woman and her trauma and moving on from her past and how her past haunts her. I said past two different ways. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. It's a great book, honestly, and I don't know if the female protagonist was written very well, but I enjoyed like having a female lead. Cause I'm a loser. Angel's Flight. I haven't read it yet. I was like halfway through it, then I stopped, and this was months ago, man. So I can't even tell you if it's good, so it probably is. I would read it. Should I do this shelf next or this shelf? I'll probably just do this one. Minecraft Medieval Fortress. You know, I got this as a gift a couple years ago from my cousins. I don't own Minecraft. I don't play Minecraft. It was a good read though. I like the pictures. It has pictures, guys. Always look, pictures. Yeah. Pretty sick, huh? Sick, huh? I'm not... Alright, what's the next book? What's the book before it? The Transformers Age of the Dark of the Moon sticker activity book. great read. I would recommend it. Pretty sure I've used all the stickers and everything. I don't know why I don't throw this out. Minecraft Beginner's Handbook. Got this back in 2014 when I used to read about Minecraft and care about it and not play it. Good book. Although they came out like a new series of Minecraft books and everything, and I'm pretty sure this one's outdated by now. Kinda sucks. Nesbo, the sun. I should do that more, that voice more often. Let's talk about the sun, alright? Nesbo is a great author, alright? This is a fantastic book, alright? It's so good. It's so amazing. I'm gonna summarize the plot very briefly. This guy, this heroin addict, he breaks out of prison. And what he does for a living is basically take other people's crimes, and he just lives in prison forever. He comes out of prison to avenge his father's death, which he realizes his father was not the crooked police officer he thought he was. And it's all this, it's a web of deception and trickery, and by the end you'll be left pretty satisfied. I think a big theme of the book is redemption. Obviously the son, Sonny, that's his name, he redeems himself. He redeems his father's legacy, he redeems pretty much everyone else, and he gives some drug dealers, some drug lords, he gives them their just desserts, you know? He does what's right. It's a great book, honestly. I've read it twice, or I think maybe more than twice. I mean, you could see how, like, I picked this book up when it was in pretty bad condition, but oh, if it isn't one of my favorite books, I don't know what to say. Like, it's so good. All the King's Men. Haven't read it. Alright. Well, my voice may be a little bit off. Maybe it's because I'm sick or something. I don't know. Dyson's. These glossy covers, man. Dyson's Drop. The Maximus Black Files. It's this great, like, sci-fi, intergalactic kind of thriller about deception and, like, a space spy agency. It's good, alright? I don't know what else to say. I don't know why I still keep this book, but Bruce Narramore, you're someone special. It's this great, like, I wouldn't even categorize it as self-help. Actually, I might, maybe I would, but it's just about how you're special and you have a purpose in life and, like, all these good things, man. Keep it real, yo. My Australian Story, Outback by Christine Harris. Got this, a free book at the orientation day of my school. From there, my schooling experience, as you can see, I'm not very well educated. Great book. I've read it a bunch of times. It follows this kid going to the Outback. No. And to live with his extended family while his father is taking the punishment for a crime he didn't commit. It's a great book, and, like, it is a kid's book, like something just like a 5th grader would read, but it's pretty good. I like it. Come on, get in there. I'm gonna read the tagline. Our world ends tonight. The Last Survivors, Life as We Knew It by Susan Pfeffer. Is it Pfeffer? Pfeffer? Pfeffer. I'm gonna say it's Pfeffer. It's the first in this series, which I haven't read, about, like, this apocalypse and everything. It's just once the moon is thrown out of balance, everything goes whack, and it just, the decay of society as we know it. And my cousin Elizabeth, lent it to me, or gave it to me. Thanks. It was a pretty good book. I liked it. And I liked the very gritty and realistic tone and approach it had to the apocalypse. You know, because just a random like space event, astronomical? Is astronomical the right word? A random astronomical event could just happen and set our lives whack, you know? Things could just go bad like that. I wish I could snap my fingers. What's the next book? The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I haven't read it. I picked it up and I was like a little bit way through the book, but you know, time doesn't allow for it. Life gets in the way. I saw my friend, because I describe everyone as my friend, but they're not really my friends, yo. Nobody's my friend. I saw my friend Rosalinda read it once, or have it in her arms. Maybe she was carrying it for a friend, I don't know. I wonder if she's watching this video. Arya, she probably would be interested in books. And we have the classics back to back, because next we have George Orwell's 1984. I'm allowed to call everything Orwellian now, because like I can say, dude, this is exactly like 1984, because everyone says that things are Orwellian, and they haven't even read like Orwell, but now that I've read it, like, yeah, I can say, dude, this is just like 1984. Such a good book, such a classic. Like, there are some words that we say today, like thought police or doublethink, we just take it for granted. But this stuff wasn't like common, you know? It originated fairly recently in our history, and I think it's just a powerful book. I could not get enough of it. I mean, there's one quote that really stood out to me. I'm gonna try and find it, but if I can't, I'll just paraphrase it. Oh yeah, okay. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. This is a very grim book about like the human condition and authoritarianism and government corruption, or the government and just governments being bad. It's a cautionary tale, and you know, it scares me sometimes thinking about how things could get like this, and they don't get like this through revolutions fairly often. It's just bit by bit things just get worse. What was I saying? Most of these books, the rest of these books I have not read, alright? The Horse Whisperer, like I got into like a chunk of it, couldn't finish it. The Bourne Identity, Robert Ludlum, super good. I got like halfway through, again, couldn't finish it. Life just gets in the way. James Patterson, Second Chance. Should this book be over there? I don't even know. Haven't read it. The Death Cure. Oh, there's a funny story behind this book, alright? So I just finished reading The Death Cure, and I realized, wow, I've already read this before. I should be reading The Kill Order, you know, in the Maze Runner series. And like, Mum, and I asked my Mum, can you get me books from the Maze Runner series? Because she always just picks up books for me. Love you, Mum. Like, most of these books are just thrifted, secondhand, and, you know, like, if just keep your eye out for this trilogy. And she's like, okay, and she gets me the book that I just finished reading. Love you, Mum. The Seven Signs, Skyfire by Michael Adams. Haven't read it. It was a gift to me, but I thought it was kind of childish, so I didn't read it. Oh, that's kind of mean. The first 4 of those books over there I have not read, so I'll just start at Eureka. William Deal. It's this great book about this town called Eureka. It, just like other books that I like, this book ties a lot into the past, you know? There's always the main linear story, and then there's always the flashbacks and the chapters that go back. And that's really good, you know? I don't like it. I don't like how everything ties together. It's about this, like, murder case that just blows up out of proportion. And this is set in, like, 1948. And some of the... I think it might go back to Wild West times or something. I don't know. But there's a lot of the past and the future, and just like other books, there's redemption, and there's a sense of satisfaction when you finish the book, because you realize everything's been tied up and everything's good. Although, you know, authors should make their readers want more. What was I saying? Oh yeah, good book. It's like, it's one of the books that I burned through pretty quickly, but God, do I love this book. I mean, it's amazing. Tom Rob Smith, Choiled 44. Oh, it's fairly heavy too. Like, look at this. I don't know why the font's so big. This is another one of those books that makes you go... It leaves you numb after you finish it. It's just... It's so good. It's a wild ride. And I don't read a lot of books set in the USSR. But this one would have to be my favorite. It gets dark at times, and it really just exposes that one side of, you know, Stalinism that no one really talks about, which is like, I'm not gonna criticize like the USSR here. I mean, obviously you can criticize any nation state for anything, but the red tape that our main character has to go through to like solve this case, it's crazy. And then you realize like the child killings were like, it's very grisly. And I lent it to my friend. I mean, it's falling apart. I love this book. It's so good. You should read it, guys. Child 44. Come on, guys, please. The Writing Class. Jinsey Willett. Look how dirty this book is. Like, there's so many food stains. Because I just love to eat and read. Eat and read, eat and read, eat and read. Eat and read, eat and read, eat and read. I love to eat and read. Pretty good story. It's about a writing class. Thank you. It's about this writing class that the university holds, and like the teacher's she's kind of jaded, and we realize why. You know, we get to peer into her past. I mean, her spoilers. Oh, you know what? Never mind. No spoilers. This is gonna be a spoiler-free video. Should have said that at the beginning. It's such a good book, and I don't know how a writing class can go from what books do you like to read, and then it just descends into multiple murders, and like, oh, it's so good. It's a thriller, but it's a very unconventional one, you know? It's not like a detective following the case, it's this old, overweight teacher who just gets most of her money from editing stuff. And I'm pretty sure that gets brought up in the book. Like, there's this anecdote, she, for a living, she edits, like, writing, you know? She just edits it. Like, that's what she does for money because of the internet and stuff. And she realized how, like, interchangeable she was and replaceable when, by accident, her superiors sent her her own work to edit. And like every other teacher, she's a failed writer. Dick Francis. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Okay, no. Dick Francis, banker. This is one of the weirdest plots I've ever, like, it's not weird per se, like, there's obviously that normal amount of treachery and evil doing and all of that, but it's such, like, the story is about horses, race horses, and it's about, like, race horses being born with genetic defects and stuff, and, like, and it's about, like, this banker guy, like, should we loan out this money to this guy to buy a horse, and then the horse, like, the children are bad, and, like, blah, 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 blah. It's such a good read. Like, oh, the pages are grimy. And they're not even my fault. Like, I just picked this up secondhand. I saw a brand new, fresh copy of this book at a store the other day. It was like $5. I'm like, why would I pay $5 when I could already own it in very grimy condition? Patricia Cornwell, Southern Cross. Now, not the Australian Southern Cross, I like this book, and I think it's really good. It's about just this police officer, this female, I'm pretty sure, police officer, just hired to clean up crime and stuff. And a big theme of the book, I was thinking about this book yesterday, a big theme about this book is like miscommunication and bad communication. Like, there's this one part where this guy goes, "Oh, we're going coon hunting." When an officer asks him, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Going coon hunting." And the police officer thinks he's talking about racial, like he's using racial slurs. But no, he actually is going raccoon hunting. There's this part of the book where someone asks the cop that's hired to clean up everything. She asks one of like the tech guys, "So how do we get the public to access our website and stuff?" I was like, and then he pulls out this long web address, which is like .gov/this/that, and it's just like, we need to fix that immediately, because a lot of institutions are they're clogged up with all this filth, and it's up to some people to just take up the mantle, clean it out, and get things done, you know? To just burn the red tape. There's this funny part of the book where this guy, he poops his pants, he goes, "Man," so everyone just starts calling man. Illuminate. This is one of the only books where I've actually just gone out and looked for the rest of the series and read it. It's such a good book. My favorite, type of science fiction is like intergalactic, humans conquer everything science fiction. And it's so good. It's about like these people living on an illegal mining colony, and then a corporation comes and shoots them all up, and they have to go in spaceships, and then one of the AI goes rogue. But it's such a good book. I said it's such a good book. And if you like space, if you like AI, if you like all that kind of stuff, there's even a bit of romance in it. And the way that it ties into the rest of the series, it's just superb, amazing. Because it's the way that everything is framed. It's presented as like a dossier of like data and evidence. Here, let me show you. It's like presented as like logs from chats and machine logs and stuff. It's all about like, it's just presented as a dossier of data given to the very company that did that horrible crime of shooting up that illegal mining colony. Great book. Read it if you want to. I don't judge. Karl Kruszelnicki. Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki. Dr. Carl K. 50 Shades of Grey Matter. It's such a good book. I picked it up at like a secondhand like thrift store and stuff. It's filled with all these like interesting anecdotes and these super cool science facts, you know, from everything like, just, it's so good. Like it's a good read. It was pretty interesting. Sometimes I go back to the stories like, well, what's written in here really just comes to mind sometimes. It's really good, but it's not like fiction. It's just science stuff. It's like pop science presented in this funny way. The Rosie Project by Graeme Simsion. Unlike other books, this book is actually set like in the city that I live in. So it's pretty interesting to like read about. Like, it's so good. And I haven't finished it yet. I'm burning through it right now. It's so amazing. You see, back when I was younger, when my sisters and mother and I used to go to, shopping centers sometimes, I'd go to like some retail stores and I'd go to their book sections and I'd just browse whatever. I just pick up this book and I'd read it bit by bit, bit by bit. And I saw it yesterday at a thrift store and I'm like, wow, this book that I've always really wanted to finish, that I saw earlier today even. And it's pretty touching, it's pretty heartwarming. Yeah, it's so good. I would recommend you read this, by the way. This isn't a book, that's my life savings. So, that was my book collection, my personal... See you next time, alright?